My sister tried to talk my boyfriend a week before the wedding, so I told her fiancé, and he left her at the altar. Now I'm engaged, but my parents say I'm jealous and ruined everything. Hi, first let me get this out. I hate my sister. I hate her with all my heart because she is a complete and utter horrible human being. She is a brat who doesn't care about anyone but herself. And the worst part is she thinks she is entitled to everything she wants. I can't stand her, and I think everyone in our family knows this. It all started when we were in high school, when she first seduced my dance partner. He told me about it, because there wasn't much of an age difference between us. I was only a year older than her, and we were always competing, and our parents never stopped it, because they had pretty much given up on us. After graduating from high school, we got along from when we were kids, and we just didn't get along. As I said, it may have something to do with the age difference, have nothing to do with the age difference. We didn't have enough age between us to stop that kind of competition. At least that's what it seemed like to me. We were always trying to outdo each other. At first it was about competing for our parents' love and attention, then it shifted to friends at school, and finally it was about boys. But no matter what, we were always competing against each other. Our parents tried to force us to spend time together, but for some reason we just couldn't get along. I know most kids eventually get over sibling rivalry, but we never did, and I think it was mostly because of my sister. Like I said, she was just a big bully, and always had been. I remember even as a kid, I would occasionally try to put aside the rivalry and be nice to her, but she would always reject me. After I realized this, I decided to stop trying to be friends with her, because she had made it clear to me that she would never get along with me and would always try to make my life more difficult. She has been a little devil since birth. There is no other way to describe her, and I'm being very polite. She is absolutely nothing to recommend her, and I've often wondered how she managed to get so many boys to agree to go out with her. How she ever got together with her fiancé is always going to be the biggest mystery, but I suppose I should call him ex-fiancé, because after what happened, I don't think they'll get married, or even stay together. To be honest, it's for the best for that man. He's a really nice guy, and he deserves better. But unfortunately, my parents are very angry, because they think it's my fault that they broke up, and that it happened at the wedding, which shamed them, and they blame me for it. So I want to know if I did the right thing or the wrong thing. Next, my sister Melissa and her fiancé Theo have been together for 5 years. They're both 25 and have been together since college. During these 5 years, I have met him countless times at family events and holidays. He seems like a really nice guy, and he has always been polite to everyone, which is the complete opposite of my sister's personality. So I have never understood how she ended up with him, because before that, she only dated terrible people, and the relationships never lasted more than 2 or 3 months. She has almost dated 8 people before ended up with Theo, and that was only between the ages of 16 and 20. Please note that I don't mean to insult her, because she was just a teenager and didn't know what she was doing, but honestly, I didn't think her relationship with Theo would last this long. I was really surprised when they celebrated their 5th anniversary together, and he finally proposed to her at the anniversary party she threw for him. I thought she had finally turned over a new leaf and was serious about this guy, which would have been a good thing, but after they got engaged, I learned some things from people at school that I didn't like hearing, mostly for Theo's sake. After they got engaged, a few of my friends told me that they had heard a lot of gossip about Melissa and Theo, and most of it wasn't good about Melissa, because several people can swear that over the past 5 years, she has been introducing herself as single to many people, and she has even dated some guys at school a few times. She has even been paired with several people on dating apps, but unfortunately, these are just the rumors I have heard about her, and no one has any conclusive evidence to prove it, so I can't tell anyone for sure, because I don't want people to think that I'm spreading these dirty rumors. These things only came to light after the engagement, because she had already posted them on social media, and because these so-called rumors had caused a stir in our social circles in the past, so I kept quiet about it, hoping that it wasn't true. Because if it was true, the poor guy would really suffer, because it seems to me that he really loves her deeply. They got engaged 8 months ago, and since then, I've kept this whole thing to myself and planned to keep it that way, but then something happened that changed my mind. Over the years, our relationship has become very serious, and recently I've started inviting him to family events. At my age, I'm dating Mary because I really want to start a family, so my immediate family knows how serious I am about this man, including Melissa. Despite our conflicts, we are still forced to have dinner with our family every weekend because my parents have made it very clear that no matter how many disagreements we have, we must still put on a happy face at least in front of our relatives and be polite during family events, dinners, and holidays. My father has been unwell recently, so he has made it mandatory that we all gather for dinner every weekend. It's only one day a week and only a few hours, so it's still bearable. We don't speak to each other, but we have to deal with the fact that it's complicated to talk to our parents. A few weeks ago, I told my parents that Alex and I were thinking about getting engaged a few months after my sister's wedding. Our relationship is very serious now, because although we've only been dating for 2 years, I've known him for a long time, and we were friends for 2 years before we started dating. Melissa knows exactly how much I like him, and even a week before the wedding, she decided to confess her feelings for my boyfriend. Last week, my parents threw a final dinner for all of us, including Theo and his family, to celebrate the finalization of the wedding. After the dinner, I went for a walk in the garden because I wanted to get some fresh air. When I returned to the house, I overheard someone talking in the kitchen with a very seductive voice. This made me curious, so I decided to peek into the room, and I was shocked to find only my boyfriend and my sister in the room. I would have been angry, but it was just a strange scene because I saw Melissa practically cornering Alex, who was standing with his back to the wall because he wanted to put as much distance between him and Melissa as possible, while Melissa was trying to flirt with him and tell him that if he ever got tired of me, he knew who to call. I felt sick and so angry that I pushed open the door, stood in the doorway, arms crossed, glaring at her, waiting for her to say something, but she just gave me a very smug little smile and walked past me as if nothing had happened, even though I knew she knew I had overheard the whole thing. Alex came over and tried to tell me he hadn't done anything, but he convinced me because I knew he hadn't. I trusted him so much, and from the way things had developed, I knew he was really upset about what had happened. He told me that he had gone to the kitchen to get a bottle of water, but Melissa followed him in and closed the door. He tried to get away from her, but she kept blocking the doorway, then cornered him and started touching him. Sadly, this wasn't even the first time this had happened. Melissa had tried to seduce my boyfriend many times before, and occasionally even succeeded. Some of my friends did cheat with her, and my parents know about it, but even so, they still force us to be together. Every time I threaten to cut them off, they start emotionally manipulating me. I don't want to cut off from my parents because they have actually been very good to me, except for the whole thing with my sister. I also can't exactly blame them because they just did a bad person. It's not their fault. They did their best to keep the family together, but after what happened last week, I decided I'd had enough. Even though she's engaged now, if she can't keep her hands off me and still wants to chase after me, she has to face the consequences. I know this isn't about her and Alex, but about her and me, and her crazy desire to outdo me and always be better than me. At that moment, I really had enough, so I decided to tell my mother, because she was the first person I ran into after Alex told me what had happened. I pulled her aside, explained the situation to her, and told her that I had also heard a bunch of other rumors from friends about Melissa, about how she pretended to go out with other people and cheated on Theo after they got engaged. She was shocked, and I expected her to tell me to do the right thing, but instead she asked me to put it out of my mind for now and begged me not to tell anyone about it. I couldn't believe this was happening because I knew that despite everything, my parents were at least decent people and would demand that I stop Theo from marrying Melissa because obviously she didn't take him as seriously as he thought she did. But she begged me not to talk about it, not to say anything, and tried to convince me to put on a happy face at the wedding, after whatever happened, and whatever came after that was all after the interaction with my mother. I gave up hope of ever being normal in this family because Melissa is just a horrible person, and my parents, no matter how much they pretend to be good people and act like they love us as much as she does, they definitely encouraged her behavior and did nothing to stop her from being a worse person. So after Alex and I left that day, I was really depressed because I always believed that my parents would eventually do the right thing, but now I realize more clearly than ever that no matter what they do, they will always put her above everything. A few minutes after we got home that day, Alex gave me some news that finally cheered me up. Now I can finally handle things on my own, because if my mother doesn't let me tell Theo the truth, I can just send him the video, because Alex told me that Melissa had started recording the video when she confronted him, because he was playing with his phone in the kitchen and the screen had obviously not been switched off when she entered the room, so when he tried to put the phone in his pocket it started recording. Now we had video evidence that she had tried to seduce my boyfriend the week before the wedding. I knew immediately what to do, so I wrote down all the dirty rumors I had heard about Melissa from my friends and sent an email to Theo with the video attached. I didn't know what would happen after I sent the email, but when I woke up the next day, Alex and I would at least have heard from someone, even if not, at least from Melissa or my parents. But then we didn't hear anything. Our inboxes were empty. Everyone continued with their lives as if nothing had happened. We waited for hours, hoping that at least we would get a message later that day, but by the evening, Alex and I still hadn't heard back from anyone. Everything seemed normal, and my mom even called me and we had a very normal conversation. He and I had to accept the fact that maybe he had already seen the video and email, and I decided that he would continue to be with Melissa, ignoring everything we had said. I won't lie, we were both a little disappointed because we really thought we could make her pay for what she did, but unfortunately that wasn't the case, at least that's what we thought at the time. Yesterday we finally attended her wedding, and we were surprised that it actually went ahead, especially after the video we sent Theo. Everything went well, and Alex and I were both confused because nothing happened at the rehearsal dinner, and they both seemed very much in love. His behavior had not changed at all, and he even greeted us in the same way, so I almost started to believe that he might not have opened the email at all. But I didn't have the courage to tell him to check his inbox, because it seemed that the whole world didn't want him to know, wanted him with Melissa, and I didn't want to interfere or cause trouble on purpose, so after that email I had given up all hope. But yesterday when he was standing at the altar and Melissa read the vows, something really strange happened. When it was his turn he started talking about an email he had received a week ago, and Alex and we just looked at each other and knew what was going to happen. I wouldn't say we were happy, it was just really strange and confusing. Then he went on to read out the contents of that email and actually played the video on the microphone. I think everyone recognized Melissa and Alex's voices, which made us feel a bit awkward because everyone's attention was focused on us at the time. But after he read the email and played the video, he told us that he had waited a week to consider what he wanted to do, and during that time, he hadn't talked to anyone about what he had seen. But now he told everyone and discussed the rumors listed in the email with them, and it turned out that most of them were true. He even talked to some people from Melissa's school who confirmed with photos that Melissa had indeed dated them over the past 5 years. She had been with him, and now it seemed only natural that he should leave her, because he had nothing more to say to her. He had chosen this moment to leave her because he felt that, after all that had happened, he deserved at least a moment of satisfaction and revenge. After the speech, there was absolute silence for a few seconds, but then Melissa completely lost it. She went hysterical and everyone spent hours because no one knew what to do and if the wedding could go ahead or not. In the end, her in-laws had to take the microphone and tell everyone to finish their lunch and go home because it was the least they could do for all the guests. So some people stayed for lunch and left, but Alex and I left as soon as we finished eating. We couldn't believe what was happening, but we're glad Theo had decided to leave because, to be honest, he deserved better. He's a good person and deserves to be with someone who really loves him and doesn't just see him as an option. Once Alexanne returned home, we didn't know what would happen late at night, although I knew it was only a matter of time after my mother finally called me. She told me she knew I had sent the email, accused me of being vindictive, and said I had always been jealous of Melissa, that she had married before me, and that I had ruined her wedding. She told me that my father and I were very disappointed in what I had done, that I was just as bad as my sister because I always tried to outdo her, that maybe that was why we never got along, but that the damage was done anyway, and that it would be best if we didn't stay in touch because she had nothing more to say to me. It broke my heart. I keep repeating that conversation in my head and trying to defend myself, but I'm always at a loss for words. Her words hurt so much, and now I'm wondering if I really am the bad guy. Alex told me I'm not the bad guy, but he's my boyfriend and he obviously sides with me. Just wondering if everyone thinks I'm the bad guy. So Ida told my sister's fiancé how she tried to cheat on him a week before the wedding. Update: hey, it's been a week since the wedding incident, and so far all I know is that the wedding is not happening and they have broken up. This is what I heard from a few friends because Melissa has been going around telling everyone that I am the one behind the breakup. The person who broke up, even though it was her who has been cheating on him and seducing my boyfriend just a week before her wedding. I don't understand how this is my fault. I take no responsibility for anything, and I can't even believe I let my mother gaslight me into believing that it is somehow my fault. I have read the comments on my original post carefully and thought about it, and I have come to the conclusion that maybe I did try to be as hard on my sister as she tried to be on me, but in the end nothing justifies what she did. And neither did I ever seduce any of her boyfriends or deliberately make her suffer. I definitely competed with her, but I would never stoop so low as to seduce her boyfriends to get back at her. I would never hurt anyone in the process, but obviously she didn't see it that way. She was a habitual thief, and I had exposed her. I don't feel bad about it, because I just saved a poor innocent boy from being cheated on for the rest of his life. My mother just wants to pretend everything is normal to protect the family's reputation, but I don't think our reputation is more important than how other people feel, because if he ends up marrying her and they get divorced, that would be even more embarrassing than the situation is now, so I'm just saving everyone a lot of trouble. If my parents still want to take her side, they can do so. I've blocked them, and if they want to contact me, they know where I live. As for Melissa, I hardly care about her feelings, and she doesn't care about anyone else's either. I don't think I need to show her that kind of courtesy. I'm glad she's suffering now. Maybe she doesn't want Theo to leave her, and she should be a better partner for him. Also, I want to talk about something. Some people in the comments have hinted that I might have feelings for Theo, which is why I've been trying so hard to sabotage their relationship and blame me for everything. I want to deny that I did try to break up their relationship, but it was more out of concern for him than hatred for my sister. Even if it was out of hatred for my sister, I don't think I did anything wrong. Even if I did everything out of spite, it still brought good things to Theo. Just because I wanted good things to happen to him doesn't mean I have feelings for him. I think he's a good person with a good heart, and that's it. We're not even close friends, so I don't understand why people would conclude that I have feelings for him. It's ridiculous, and I have Alex by my side, who's been with me for 2 years. I love him more than anyone or anything in the world, and I want to marry him. I think I made that very clear in my original post, so I don't know where the idea that I have feelings for Theo came from. I find it insulting. I want to clarify that whatever I did because I thought it was the right thing to do, and I have put up with a lot of nonsense over the years, and I don't think I need to put up with it anymore, so I have no regrets about what I did. If someone still thinks I did it because I have feelings for Theo, then they can think so. I know what my intentions were. I know what I did was right, so it's no big deal, and most of the comments are supporting me. Anyway, I don't think I need to explain anymore. Alex and I are happy and satisfied with how things have turned out. My parents don't speak to me anymore, but that doesn't matter to me because they would have taken Melissa's side anyway, even though she was so wrong in this case and has proven to be a chronic offender. I don't know what's going on, but in any case, I don't need to try to make up with them anymore, because they have already told me very clearly that I am not important to them, and neither is doing the right thing. So, it's a free country, and we can all do what we want, and I guess that's what we're doing. Update 2 Hi. It's been almost 2 weeks since the wedding was called off. Theo left Melissa, and today I finally got a reply from him, which shocked me because I didn't think he would contact me, because honestly, I did ruin his wedding, and I brought bad news. It was hard to take, and we weren't really close friends before this happened. So I didn't know what to expect, but I'm glad he reached out, because a few hours ago, he sent me an email in response to the email I sent him 3 weeks ago before the wedding. He told me that he never had the chance to thank me before because he was still struggling with his feelings and didn't know what to do, so he ignored me. But now that everything is out in the open, he feels the need to thank me for being so caring and letting him know that he said he had reservations about Melissa occasionally. But he always believed that other people had misconceptions about her because no one dared to actually come to him and tell him the truth about his situation because no one wanted to be the bad guy. But I was the only one who actually came to him and told him the truth so that he could make a decision about himself and his relationship. So he thanked me for that and told me that he didn't know why I did it and he wasn't interested because he didn't want to know my motives because that would ruin the whole thing. But I just wanted to thank me and get it over with, and I think that's a good thing. I obviously still feel bad for him because I know he really loves Melissa, but I talked to Alex about it and it's a better option for him in the long run. I hope he finds happiness after this update. Hi everyone, this update will be very short. About 3 months ago, I posted here that I wanted to marry Alex and we planned to get engaged. Eventually, 2 days ago, he proposed to me, and I said yes. We're getting married and we're throwing ourselves an engagement party in a few days. I didn't invite my parents because they won't reach out to us. I think our relationship is over. I posted the engagement on social media and they didn't even congratulate me, but my relatives did and everyone else thinks I did the right thing and my parents just suck. So now I don't expect anything from them, but at least I'm happy and Alex is happy, and that's all I need right now.